Hello, this is Paul Nelson with Western Sport Floors, Wyoming Wood Floors, coming to you from Clinton, Montana today. And today we're going to be talking volleyball sleeves, specifically volleyball sleeves that are in a floor joist system, some sort of a gymnasium floor that's built on wooden floor joists, and you have to come in and either repair or install a new set of volleyball sleeves. A couple of things about volleyball. As all athletes, these volleyball players are becoming taller and stronger. And if you ever watch volleyball, they are some tremendous athletes, and sometimes they come down and really pound on that net. And that's transferred all the way down those stanchions and right to that sleeve. And it makes for quite a bit of pressure down at that floor system where that sleeve hits. So getting that sleeve really anchored is extremely important. We ended up doing 4 of these this year, and I'm going to go through a video that kind of defines how we did one of those 4. So let's start. Let's take a look at this first picture here. Our man Jared is down in a crawl space looking at a set of volleyball sleeves that have failed. This has failed. The stanchion was wiggling pretty freely within the socket. So in conjunction with sanding this floor, we were asked to give an estimate for fixing these sleeves, and I'm going to just go through with this video what we did. First, let's look at what's there existing. This engineered floor joist was running right through the center of this gym where they wanted to put the sleeve. And mind you, this was done in the mid-'80s, so this system did last for 40 years. It did work from that standpoint. What they did is they actually cut this engineered floor joist right down the middle. They poured a small concrete pad, and then they poured a column of cement up to the bottom of this sleeve. As you can see looking up here, they attached it to some kind of an apparatus that they built and then put the sleeve in that. So to repair this, we had to get in and chisel these concrete columns out, which was a fairly in-depth procedure here. You can see here that there's some rebar at the bottom of this column. So now that we have the rebar exposed, you can use a grinder to cut that out of there. And finally, this thing is loose and, and down it comes. So once they have this column out of there, they're going to go outside and they're going to start building a box, kind of the system that we developed, that we've been using for about 10 years, that has been working pretty well. I'll let Colton talk about just what they're doing on this box itself.
All right, so now we have the boxes built. Let's take a look at them. So these are gonna sit inside of the floor joists, and it's gonna hold the volleyball sleeves where they need to go. So inside, we've got some support structure that'll help hold the concrete nice and tight to the box. And this is gonna sit right on top of this 2x10 that we have that'll be anchored to the floor joists. And underneath that 2x10, we're gonna have a post jack to really give a lot of good support underneath this box. Because once we have this set where we need to go, we're gonna come in through the top of the floor and fill concrete around this volleyball sleeve so that it's not going anywhere and it'll be structurally secure, unlike the old ones. So now we'll take this down into the crawl space and we'll get it installed.
So once the box is built, back down underneath the crawl space, what they're doing here is installing some 2x10s to the floor joist to support the box, because they're going to put a couple 100 pounds of concrete in that box and they want it well supported. Once the box is installed, braced, connected to both those 2x10 supports and to the floor system above, they're going to go up top and they're going to actually install the sleeve itself. Here's what that looks like. So we're able to, we'd actually already sanded and sealed this floor. We were able to do all the work underneath in the floor system except for actually pouring the concrete. And what they did is put some mask around this hole. They poured down 4 bags of concrete, slid the sleeve into that between the rebar they'd built in the box, leveled it up good, and this is basically the finished product here except for the cap. They haven't screwed the cap on yet. I'm not saying this is necessarily the only right way of doing this, but in our experience, this has worked really well for us. Thought I would share it with you. Maybe it will help somebody else. The only other thing that I'd like to bring up is I'd mentioned we'd done 4 of these this summer. The other 3 were on a remodel project that we were doing for a general contractor, and they were adding on to one side of the gym. And when we came to relocate the center line, which would have been where it was before, we had the exact same scenario where a major structural floor joist was running right through the center. And we had a conversation between the general contractor, the architect, and myself. And what we came up with was that we moved one basket 6 inches off the wall, one basket 6 inches closer to the wall, which moved the center line 6 inches closer to the basket that had moved closer to the wall. That got us off the structural floor joist, and everything else was done the same. When the gym was all finished, nobody walking into that facility would have been able to tell that one basket was 6 inches further off the wall and one basket was 6 inches closer to the wall. And I think that was the right answer. Getting down and cutting out a structural floor joist, in my opinion, is a less than ultimate idea. For Western Sport Floors and Wyoming Wood Floors, this is Paul Nelson. You make it a great day.